Rod, obviously different teams look at this from different perspectives. I wonder if you'd take us through the past week or so from the standpoint of the Ottawa Senators and tell me how much you like what has happened, how much you dislike the final product, and just how you have viewed the proceedings.
Well, the final product is something which we find we like fairly well. I also would have liked to see some stated relationship between salary and revenues, but that clearly wasn't going to be acceptable to the players. And short of that, Ottawa's quite satisfied with the format of the contract, short of having either a cap or a meaningful tax.
Were you prepared? I guess you had to be prepared, but I wonder how prepared for the possibility of no hockey. What do you think your sentiments would be if we were discussing a different outcome here?
Well, as soon as we began the lockout in October, I immediately informed the limited partners that are part of the Ottawa Hockey Club, part of the ownership, and we met together, and I described the probability, in my view, that we should at least be ready financially to go the year without hockey. So we immediately moved to do that and estimated our total year's cost at $15 million if there was no hockey for the year. And the partners approved an equity issue of that amount, which in fact my company has committed to buy and is funding. That's really the basis for the Senators preserving its balance sheet, even if there had been no hockey all year. The fact that we will now be back to hockey for a little more than half a year means that we actually will have a substantially stronger balance sheet at the end of this year than we would have had if we'd played hockey, because we have put in more capital than, in fact, the losses that will likely now be incurred.
But you're happy to be playing?
I'm very happy to be playing.
Do you think it's possible to stand back and look at this and answer what really is a simple question that I think a lot of fans might have, and that is, was it worth it? Was it worth giving up almost half the season and all of the lost revenue to get to this point? Forget whatever other fallout there is. Do you think this deal is good enough to make all of that worthwhile?
Yes, I believe that to make a meaningful change in the structure of collective bargaining that had developed over a many period of years, it really could not be done without each party being prepared to take the pain of a work stoppage. It would be nice if one could make major adjustments without that, but a major adjustment was required, and I believe that the truth remains in the delivery, but I believe there is a real opportunity here that we can meet the expectations of players, which I do not believe is that they should run up salaries 25% a year. I think they're serious when they say these changes should allow salaries to go up at a moderate pace, and with these changes, I believe they will. It would have been nice to achieve this without a work stoppage, but I think if it's the only way to do it, it was worth doing.
So you think it was inevitable and that nobody should criticize either side for all that has taken place, that something like this did have to take place?
I don't think the criticism should be that the action was taken to correct the problem. One could look into history and say, where did it start coming unglued, and perhaps make criticisms of the management process at the time. But it's always the case that he who's set off at the task to fix a problem is the one who gets the heat, because you have to incur the pain to your customers, in this case the fans of hockey, to fix the problem. But the fact is this discrepancy between salary growth and the customer's ability to pay had to be fixed. And I believe that it's something which it was the right thing to do, to take the action necessary to get it fixed, and I believe we have a reasonable chance that this agreement will allow us to do that. And
then another of those simple questions, if something like this had to take place, did it have to take this long to fix it? Do you think there's room for criticism on either or both sides that we're into the middle of January before it's finally settled?
There's always room for criticism. It would be nice to look back and say, why didn't you do it earlier? Fact is that in any labor negotiation, the labor negotiator has to be able to demonstrate to the membership that he got the last ounce there is. And I think until it was clear that the season actually had to be canceled because it wouldn't work otherwise, a threat to cancel the season unless wouldn't have been taken seriously. If we'd said this in the middle of December, the answer would be, oh yeah, but you really won't. So you just waste your breath. It was only when it came to the point where clearly it would be canceled if we didn't settle that we actually could come to a set of negotiations where at the end of the day everyone could believe the players will not give any more, the owners cannot or will not give any more, so we now have to decide, will we accept this transaction or will we cancel the season? I don't think for the first adjustment in a process that has been relatively consistent for years and years and years, I don't think it was likely that that would be achieved any other way.
One question, Rod, about the season that lies ahead. Is there some sort of silver lining for the Ottawa Senators in that there are 48 games and not 84 from the standpoint of trying to give the fans a team that competes for a playoff spot, if you know what I mean?
I'm not exactly the hockey expert. I'm told by Randy and John and Rick that in fact the shorter season could work to our advantage. We do have young players, many of them who do have the ability to go at it every second night. It's going to be a very intense schedule. On the other hand, we will be playing conference play only, as we understand it, and our record, poor as it was last year, was better against West Coast or Western Division competition than against teams in our own conference. It's a tough conference, but I believe that the fans will certainly get very, very competitive and good quality hockey. I'm not sure it's going to be any easier for us net of all, when you take all one thing against the other, not sure it's a lot easier to make the playoffs.
We'll see, Rod. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave.